You are listening to The Standard Podcast, June 24th, 2018 edition. This week's headlines include Councillor Kett to not be recognized at a council meeting until he gives a sincere apology for withholding information. Firefighters face great health risks. And accessible washrooms open at Eglin Park. Councillor Kett to not be recognized at a council meeting until he gives a sincere apology for withholding information. Dan Kearns, Scugog. Scugog Ward 3 Councillor Don Kett was reprimanded by Mayor Tom Rowett for keeping other Scugog councillors and township staff in the dark about an announcement about a local business's expansion. At a meeting on Monday, June 18th, Mayor Tom Rowett addressed two areas of concern with the Ward 3 councillors' recent actions. He began by talking about Councillor Kett's recent letter to the editor. He said, "In this letter, Councillor Kett gave the impression that he's responsible for projects coming to the island. Though all ward councillors strive to promote projects for their ward, I want to ensure the public knows that significant projects like broadband and natural gas are due to the collective work of all of council and staff over many years. Furthermore, regarding the release of information concerning the business of council, including special projects, I once again find myself in a position to remind Councillor Kett that the mayor is the spokesperson for the township." He added that all communication on council business should flow through the township's manager of communications. The mayor then spoke about Councillor Kett's actions regarding the recent Maple Leaf Foods expansion announcement. He said, "Staff were asked to attend an announcement. Staff asked for details and were only told there would be a big announcement. Staff were not told the nature of the announcement, when or where it was being held. Councillor Kett did not share it with myself or his fellow members of council. Yet, the information was shared with regional staff and with reporters. I was asked by staff what we should do with this, and I directed staff not to attend because it is unfair to the rest of council that we are not notified. I understand that Councillor Kett mentioned that this was confidential information, but Councillor Kett was able to inform other members to show up at this. It was quite embarrassing for myself and members of this council. Your behavior is unacceptable." Mayor Rowett went on to say Councillor Kett put regional staff in a precarious situation. He said, "I was approached by regional staff, and they felt they were uncomfortable with the fact they were told to come here and meet you and be escorted to the location." He said this announcement is positive news for the township, and said it is unfortunate it now has a negative cloud over it. Mayor Rowett said, "I am requesting a sincere apology from you for withholding this information from council and staff, and engaging with the press independently and acting as the sole representative and spokesperson for Scugog." He also asked Councillor Kett to follow up his apology with an apology email to township officials and Maple Leaf Foods. Councillor Kett said, "The fact is that I was requested to not let anybody know what the facts were. It was a big announcement, and when I mentioned it to Mayor Rowett, he said he wanted lots of notice for it, and that was in the mayor's email, which I have a copy for. I'm sorry about that, but I also notified regional staff, and they were happy with the fact they could come up here and be a part of it as well. It was something that was very sensitive. I mentioned that to a number of people. It was basically the mayor's decision not to allow anybody to go, because I said I would let everybody know at that time. Other people accepted that fact. The newspapers didn't know about it, where it was, and what I'm saying is I did what I was requested to do." He also addressed Mayor Rowett's comment about the mayor being the spokesperson, stating, "Writing letters to the editor is allowed in the township's new code of conduct." Councillor Kett said, "To my fellow people on council, I apologize for not allowing them the opportunity to be there. It was a difficult decision, and it's earth-breaking news." Mayor Rowett said Councillor Kett could have given township staff and councillors the same courtesy he gave regional staff with knowing at least a time the night before, and told Councillor Kett to not point the finger at him for keeping township staff from going, because it was an unfair situation for members of the township. As the mayor didn't see Councillor Kett's words as a sincere apology, he told Councillor Kett he would not recognize him in council until the Ward 3 councillor gives a sincere apology. The next Scugog council meeting is Monday, June 25th.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane.
No, it's the Standard.
It's what?
It's the Standard newspaper serving Durham Region and the city of Kawartha Lakes. For all your local stories and much more, pick up the Standard today. Call 905-985-6985 or visit www.thestandardnewspaper.ca. Read it today.
Firefighters face great health risks. Claudia Sitzma, Kawartha Lakes. Our community remains safe and strong because of the contribution and commitment of so many, but the unique sacrifice of those in the military, police services, and firefighting is without comparison. They risk their lives for the safety of others, and the disruption their family endures for the performance of this essential service is worthy of acknowledgement. Firefighters face a multitude of challenges ranging from physical danger, exposure to hazardous materials, mental anguish, onset of cancer and heart disease, and exposure to communicable diseases, just to name a few. In an article printed by the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, dated April 19, 2018, it states, the health and safety of municipal employees remains a top priority for municipal governments, as demonstrated by their continuing training and equipment investments to maximize employee safety. However, despite these efforts, unintended consequences include injuries and illness sustained by firefighters. As a community, we must address and prepare for that both socially and financially. Numbers indicate exactly what firefighters are encountering. WSIB costs for firefighters remain, in the last 4 years, the top payouts for Kawartha Lakes, according to a presentation by City Councillor Carolyn Daines at the June 12, 2018 Special Council meeting. Two components for the expenditures need to be recognized. Ontario's legislation requires payments to be made by WSIB for occupational injury or disease, including what is defined as a presumptive disease, written in a policy manual published January 3, 2017. If a firefighter or a fire investigator is diagnosed with a prescribed cancer on or after January 1, 1960, and meets the employment duration and additional criteria for the prescribed cancer, then the disease is presumed to be an occupational disease due to the nature of the worker's employment, unless the contrary is shown. The city has covered its payments under Schedule 2 for workers' compensation claims, adding to the expenses for Kawartha Lakes, effectively making the city its own insurer. The city currently employs 22 firefighters, but has an estimated 350 to 370 person volunteer firefighter crew. This means potentially hundreds of men and women from decades past are eligible for claims, putting a further strain on the budget and requiring municipal representatives to devise plans to accommodate future budgeting provisions for this. In a statement made on May 8th, Minister of Community Safety and Correctional Services, Marie-France Lalonde, asserted, "Ontario's firefighters, both career and volunteer, are among the best in the world. An important part of my responsibilities is to work with municipalities to identify and address emerging gaps and challenges related to the delivery of fire protection services." Mark Pankhurst, fire chief for the city of Kawartha Lakes, stated in a written comment to the Standard, "Since amalgamation, our fire service has been striving to reduce occupational injury, illness, and death through several proactive mitigation initiatives, including but not limited to post-traumatic stress disorder plan, respiratory protection plan, decontamination and personal hygiene plan, diesel exhaust extraction systems for fire stations, comprehensive firefighter safety training, comprehensive incident management and command systems, and wellness benefits for firefighters. Across the province, many of the above programs have only been developed within the past 30 years. Regrettably, many gaps still remain in some jurisdictions." Accessible washrooms open at Eglin Park. Cassidy McMullen, Uxbridge. New accessible washrooms at Eglin Park opened up just in time for summer on June 15th. Uxbridge had received $31,043 in funding last year through a federal accessibility grant to have the previous washrooms renovated in a universal design. Really, we look at accessibility, it's a universal design, Terry Baskin, chair of the Accessibility Committee, said. "I find when I go to a place that was designed with accessibility in mind, I appreciate it, even though I don't have the need." Members of the City Council and the Accessibility Committee came for the ribbon cutting and the official opening of the new washrooms. Councillor Dave Barton shared, "Every Thursday night, there's the car show. Almost every week, there's amazing things happening. It's just a great step forward. It wasn't a good representation of our town, so it needed to be updated." Nico Papella, a member of the Accessibility Committee, said out-of-date buildings were a problem they faced, while bringing the town up to provincial standards and making facilities usable for all residents. Mr. Baskin commented, "It's really nice to see old facilities being brought up to the grand standard, in addition to building new facilities." Mr. Papella added, "Before renovations, it was hard to even get a wheelchair inside, due to the placement of the doors, but now mobility device users shouldn't have a problem." Accessibility improvements made to the washrooms were relocating the doors for safer entry, paved paths and ramps to go to the wider doors, grab rails in the stalls and beside urinals, automatic door openers, and automatic soap dispensers. Other improvements were new fixtures, a window, and an increase in capacity. The work was done to complement the previous improvements made by the town to the park, like paving the pathways, adding lighting, and installing new recreational equipment. For more local news, visit www.thestandardnewspaper.ca. The Standard podcast was produced by Greenstream Studio. Visit www.greenstreamstudio.ca for all your multimedia production needs. Do you have audio production needs?
I'm sure Christopher can clean that up.
Greenstream Studio is here for you.
I am completely impressed with Christopher Green's work. Chris is hardworking, trustworthy, and on top of that, he has a great ear for audio.
His audio editing and sound design skills are very high quality.
He would be an asset to any organization requiring these expertise and attention to detail.
He just gets what makes audio compelling.
For more information, visit greenstreamstudio.ca.